And that's yet another DDG win.
Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to the DDG YouTube channel. This is SmartTCG, and today I'm going to be going over my list that I used to get 10th place at the Vancouver Regional Championships. I'm going to go over my matchups and kind of explain the reasonings as to why I played Mew and why I think it's such a exceptionally strong play heading into Charlotte and Fort Wayne. So heading into this event, I had played Lugia for the past 7 tournaments for LAIC, for Toronto, Arlington, San Diego, Orlando, OCIC, and Knoxville. I might be missing one, but if that's 7, then those are the 7 that I used it for. And I was just kind of getting tired of it. Like, I got multiple top 16s with the deck. I saw quite a bit of success with Lugia V-Star. However, as the metagame had kind of started to change, the deck became slightly less enjoyable for me. I think one of the biggest things was that everyone kind of knew how to play against Lugia, and the entire metagame was built to beat Lugia as well, or just, you know, play Lugia. So I kind of got tired of the deck, and since I already have my invite, I decided to change it up and play something different. So when I was looking through all the decks that I was curious about playing, Mew VMAX came back to mind. I played Mew VMAX a lot last season. I played it to I think 4 tournaments, including the World Championships, where I placed in the top 32. So it was definitely a deck that I was familiar with. However, this build is going to be significantly different than the old ones of past, with things like Alessa Sparkle and Fusion Strike Meloetta and stuff like that, right? This is going to be the double turbo energy Mew VMAX with Aerodactyl. Now, the thing about Aerodactyl is that it's not great if you go second. However, when you go first, you can use that Ancient Star before they can even set up, which completely cripples them from being able to set up their board state, especially against decks like Lugia V-Star, for example, that entirely rely on their abilities. Ancient Star is absolutely fantastic to prevent them from even using Summoning Star, which will just allow you to run them over. This is going to be the entire list I decided to play. Pretty standard here. I'll go over a couple of different cards in this list that might be a little bit awkward. I play 1 Rotom Phone. A lot of people are like, why did you just play 1? Because typically Rotom Phone is a card that you either see 2, 3, or 4 of, or just 0. 1 of is a kind of an interesting card to have as, you know, like as that count, right? Well, I originally had 2 and 1 for Seal Stone. But when I was testing, I really realized you don't use Aerodactyl every single game, so just having that second 4 Seal Stone was incredibly valuable, because at very worst, it was just a tool card to attach somewhere, which would allow me to use Fusion Strike System for more cards. This deck really thrives off being able to have those big Fusion Strike Systems for 5 or 6 cards, so being able to just slap down easy cards onto the field to be able to draw more was definitely something that I valued a lot. On top of it as well, it is really good to get 2 down and then use something like a Judge and a Path at once, because if they vacuum away 4 Seal Stone and you don't have a way to remove the Path, then you get kind of put in an awkward situation. So being able to put down double 4 Seal Stone against players just kind of prevents those, you know, awkward situations that might come up where a Path gets stuck in play and they remove something like the 4 Seal Stone. You know, just kind of prevents those awkward plays, as you should always have 2 on the field. The list was complete. I decided to run with it, and I ended up getting 10th place. One more thing about Rotom Phone I'll say is that it kind of was just, it's the most flexible card in the deck. It could be Echo Horn or something else, but I just kind of valued that little extra boost of consistency, and it ended up being really, really important. There were many times where I needed 1 more card to complete the combination, whether it be a final power tablet to take a knockout or a boss's orders to swing the prize trade back into my favor. Just being able to use all my Genesects except 1, and then use Rotom Phone to dig just a little bit more to be able to find that final piece was something that I really enjoyed, and it definitely was a clutch card. If there was space for 2, then I definitely would include it. If you really wanted to add a second one, I would either cut a Seal Stone, or you could cut either Silene or Palpad for that second Rotom Phone, just to add in a little bit more consistency. Personally, I like Silene. Definitely was a good card, especially in some situations where I was running low on switch counts or just like energy counts in general, because there's only 4 and sometimes I discard them. But anyways, this is the list that I ended up playing. I had a really good time with it, and I'm going to go over some of my matchups, kind of how it went, and yeah, you know, kind of my thoughts heading into Charlotte and also Fort Wayne. So let's take a look here. Let's move over to the tournament dashboard. Alrighty, here. Let me just move over here. We should see it here. All right. So here are my matchups. I can kind of go over each and every one of them, kind of what happened, you know, why I lost some matches and stuff like that. But anyways, heading into round 1, I hit actually one of my really good friends, Muhammad. from Canada playing Vikavolt with Sky Seal Stone Drapion. There actually were multiple Sky Seal Stone Drapion decks that I ended up playing this tournament, so it definitely wasn't an easy one to go through. My first one was Mohammed playing Vikavolt with Drapion. Game 1, they just simply missed the Vikavolt counter, or they missed the Drapion to be able to counter my Mew, as Vikavolt struggles to counter Mew. However, Drapion does a great job of kind of, evening the matchup out just because it's so powerful. So they just ended up missing. And then in game 2, they, I believe, prized Radiant Greninja on top of prizing Hisuian Heavy Ball, which simply meant that they just weren't able to discard energy quickly enough, which means they weren't able to Melanie and attack. So I was just kind of able to take over that game. Round number 2, I played against Harry, really nice person, playing Goodra with the Drapion. I ended up winning that set pretty convincingly. Game 1, they just didn't set up. Game 2 was a little bit closer. However, I was able to pull it out versus Goodra. I think Goodra's a pretty good matchup, probably 55-45 to 60-40. So that's what I'll say on that. Round 3, ended up playing against Lost Zone Rayquaza, and I drew terrible. I think game 1 I prized 2 double turbo energy, and I also just had a very weak start, which meant that I was missing double turbos early game, which meant I had a really slow start, and I really wasn't able to capitalize on those opportunities early game to kind of take over. So they were just able to win that way. And then in game 2, I completely bricked, went draw, I think bench a Pokemon, pass, and then I just lost after that. Going into round 4, I played against Caden Romero, I believe from Seattle. Really nice opponent as well. Ended up playing Palkia. I won a really close game 1, and then more or less because they misplayed. I think they had game, but they forgot Path was in play, and they promoted Drapion and tried to attack, which they can't do that right with the Path in play. So I was able to win that game pretty nicely. And then game 2, I actually misplayed back. I locked myself out of the game with Path when I was probably going to win, which was kind of partially my fault, because after the game, I realized that I never should have Pathed to begin with, which was, sometimes it happens, right? So I was able to lose that game. Game 3, I tried to finish in time. However, it just was like too early. There was really going to be no clear winner. So it just was a tie. Round 5, I played against Logan Adams, from Canada, playing the Lugia V-Star deck. And it was pretty quick. Game 1, I just won the coin flip, Aerodactyl them. Their board state completely collapsed. And then in game 2, I think Judge Path just kind of won me the game. They were running really low on energies as well, so I was able to squeak that out. I think they also misplayed as well. I think they said they had game one of the turns, but just didn't see it. So I was pretty fortunate there as well. So heading into round 6 at 3-1-1, I'm feeling pretty good, not bad. Round 6, I play against Samson Chow from, I believe, Canada as well, playing Mew VMAX with the double turbos as well. So the mirror match, I win a pretty close game 1, lose game 2, and then game 3, I'm just able to squeak out with a little bit of time left, being able to close it out. Aerodactyl was absolutely fantastic in this matchup here, being able to lock them from using Genesect, and I learned a lot about the mirror match because I hadn't played a whole lot of it heading into this, so that was something as well that was really awesome. So 4-on-1, I'm feeling really good, and I hit Sim Mortimore. Once again, really nice person, and they were able to take me down. Game 1, I prized all 3 Judge, so it was just a disaster. And then in game 2, my start was just really bad, so I wasn't really able to get going and establish my board state, and they took advantage of it. Goodra is a deck that if you stumble against early and they get the double Goodra going, it can become really difficult, and Sim was able to do that fantastically, and was able to take me down there. So I'm 4-2-1, I'm feeling a little bit rough. I play against Eric Albertine from, I believe, Ontario or somewhere on the East Coast for Canada. I could be wrong, I apologize, but Eric here ended up, I took the set versus another Mew 2-0, pretty convincing. Game 2, they made a game losing error, and I was able to win off that, which was a little bit unfortunate, but Eric was super nice and ended up getting a chance to talk to them after the event. And they're a really nice person from what I saw. So took that game there up to 5-2-1, and then I played against Ryan Kratz as well, from Canada, and they were playing Fusion Mew, and they decided to go second, which immediately I was like, okay, this is probably Fusion Mew. I won a really close game 1 where Path stuck. It was super close, like they were just a switch boss away. They had the boss but not the switch, and then in game 2 I was able to get them with a Path to Peak. So I was able to take that, and I was able to win that 6-2-1, barely squeaking into day 2, and I'm feeling pretty decent. However, I get hit by a Palkia, another one, And in this round, it did not go as well. Game 1, completely dead drew. Game 3, I was able to squeak it out as they did not draw very well. And then Game 3, I rock sand them, but I missed path, which was really bad. Because if I had gone KO and they completely bricked, I then could have gone Boss's Order, so I got the only Palkia, and I think I would have won. But I missed path, which allowed them to Greninja, and they Greninja'd into a Evolution Incense and a Inteleon, so they just were able to search their entire deck. So the game kind of fell apart there, and they were able to lock up the game. And I was trying to KO their Palkia the next turn, but I just missed power tablets, so the game just fell even farther and farther down the drain. So fortunately lost that, falling to 6-3-1. However, I was able to pull it out by taking down Adrian, playing Lugia, Jackson playing Mew, and then heading into the last 2 rounds where it was getting really, really tight. Played against Justin Bakari, a friend of mine, really, really nice person, always a pleasure to play against him, and one of the best players to ever play. I was just able to win the coin flip. I used Aerodactyl game 1, and then game 2, I got them with Judge Path, and they were playing Lugia, so their board just kind of fell apart. And then played against Caleb Gettimer. I lost the coin flip. However, I was able to Judge Path them pretty much both games, just entirely out of the game. They're playing Lugia. In game 1, they only used 1 Archeops because they were afraid that I was going to be able to knock out their only Lugia or just block them out of the game again with something like Path. So I was able just to go remove Path, or I think I was able to go just like Boss's Orders, take out the Archeops, and then lock in Path again, I think, and they just kind of fell apart after that too. So I was able to take that, and I ended up getting 10th place. So close, but no cigar there, getting oh so close to the top 8. However, you know, it is what it is. One of my good friends, Cameron, got 9th, and one of my friends, Zach, as well, got top 8. So yeah, pretty good tournament for me. I can't complain. Definitely had a lot of fun playing the deck. Anyways, coming into changes, the only thing that I would potentially change is you can cut the Rotom Phone for anything else in the list. That is probably the most cuttable card, or you could cut a Forest Seal Stone as well. Those are kind of 2 things as well, or Palpat or Silent. Those are kind of the 4 cards, but as of right now, I don't expect to make any changes to the list, and I really, really enjoyed it. So with that being said, thank you all for watching my very first video on the DDG YouTube channel. Make sure to check out our articles on Cutter Tap. The link will be in the description as well. But yeah, make sure to like and subscribe. Let us know what you think of the content as well. Let us also know what type of content you want. We're trying to, you know, get out the most like the best competitive, like, oriented content. So if there's any competitive content that you guys are looking for, then make sure to let us know. But with that being said, this is SmartTCG. Thank you so much for all the support as always, and I'll speak with you again soon. Peace out. I'm also going to Charlotte, so make sure to say hi. All right, peace.